And welcome back. We're talking about your questions that you've posted up in the comment field. If you want to play along, post up in the comment field of this or any of our videos. We'd love to talk it out and see what we can do for you. This question comes from Mr. William Nielsen. William, thank you. William wrote in response to our warning shot video, wonder how it would go if you fired a warning shot if a dog was about to attack. William, again, thanks for the question. So keep in mind, and look, I'm not trying to offend dog lovers or anything like that. I have nothing against dogs. I like dogs. But this is the law that dogs are presently treated as property. Okay, so if a dog is about to attack, again, we're going to be back into that question mark that we've talked about with all the warning shot content, both past, present, and trust me, future as well, which is the fact that there's a whole raft of laws that are going to be out there, ranging from discharging too close to a dwelling, disorderly conduct while armed, recklessly endangering safety, all that kind of stuff that are just kind of nebulous, sometimes long-arm statutes. Sometimes it's just a tripwire statute, like the discharging within X distance of a dwelling, whether it's a home, apartment, condo, where if you did that, oftentimes states will have, in my experience, they'll have carve-outs where that's allowed to happen if you were acting in self-defense. So a lot of this, again, is going to trigger back to self-defense. Here's the problem with warning shots, is it creates a catch-22 situation that the prosecutor will try to use to fork you. On the one hand, brief refresher, you're allowed to use deadly force if you're in reasonable fear of imminent death or great bodily harm. Again, check your local listings. The wording can vary, but the gist to it is that if confronted with a deadly threat, you can use deadly force. Okay. So if you had time for a warning shot, so goes the argument by the prosecutor, then were you really in reasonable fear of imminent death or great bodily harm? Well, obviously the counterpoint is, well, what would you rather have me do? Shoot the dog? Right. So you kind of get into that tit for tat back and forth, but that is what the prosecutor is going to argue. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a person, it doesn't matter if we're talking about an animal. They're going to argue something to the effect of, if you were actually in reasonable fear of imminent death or great bodily harm, and obviously this has to all be informed by the context, the facts, if this was an adult who was attacking, if this was a person, were they armed, what were they saying, why were they there, what time of day, where are you, all that kind of stuff. But when we're talking about an animal, again, you're going to be getting into all those sorts of things of, well, how do you know they're about to attack? How do they know that they're not just, you're not making it up or something like that? And believe me, I'm the messenger on this. So it is what it is, but those are the kind of arguments that you're going to be running into. And again, I appreciate the fact that maybe you do genuinely love dogs and you genuinely do not want to needlessly harm or take a dog's life. I get that. I appreciate that. But the prosecutor may not, and they're not going to appreciate the use of, in their view, deadly force unnecessarily. And, that's where we get to local law enforcement and prosecutor culture. So again, I'm only the messenger when I'm just trying to let people know how oftentimes prosecutors will try to look at all this kind of stuff. So please don't downvote me for that. But it is what it is. If you got any more follow-up questions, obviously, please let me know. Please do all the YouTube things like subscribe, comment, share. We'll see you in the next one.